Welcome to Making Creativity Pay, the podcast where we talk to people in creative industries about how they promote and market their work. I'm Dan Barnett, and on today's episode, I'm joined by two guests in the studio for the first time. So without further ado, just ask them to kind of introduce themselves. So, Christie?
Hi, it's so nice to be here. I'm Christie Manning, and I run Response Theatre Company, which is a new theatre company as of 2022.
Exciting. I'm Ava Beaux. I'm a magician and also, I think, a clown now. I've only been doing clown for a few years, but I think I can call myself a clown.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, so I mean, obviously you're two different industries, but there is a fair bit of overlap between them, especially now you're saying with clown and everything and performance, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit later on as well. To start, Christie, I mean, how did you always wanted to be a dancer from?
Oh, yeah. My mom put me in baby ballet when I started walking. I walked on my tippy toes. So she was like, you're destined to be a dancer. And I actually wanted to be a soccer player, or I guess football in this country, because my grandfather was a soccer player. But she likes to rub it in every day. Aren't you glad that I put you in dance? Mom's always right. And she was. I've loved it. I've always loved it. I've never not wanted to do it. I mean, I direct and I choreograph and I teach now. I kind of do all the facets under the dance umbrella, as you do. You know, you continue to just expand and explore as you get older. But yeah, it's been my life's dedication. Yeah.
And you, Ava, I mean, was magic from an early age?
No, when I was 16, so quite early, I was supposed to be doing GCSE study leave and thought I'd turn on the TV instead and saw Dynamo. And then I just got hooked from the get-go. So yeah, when I was starting out there, I was too scared to kind of even tell anyone I did magic because I knew they'd ask for a trick.
Yes.
I was so nervous.
No.
I didn't perform much to strangers until I did my first gig at 21. I think that's where you learn how to do it properly because the misdirection is such an important part of it.
Yes, because I guess it's quite different to being a stand-up. You know, you can be a stand-up learning on things and, you know, you get a laugh, get a few groans and you get better that way. But a magician who's not very good is terrible.
Yeah, really bad, yeah. I think you grow in confidence. Even if you've got the sleight of hand down, when you go out in front of a group of people, you're so nervous, but now I've done it for 10 years, the close-up kind of professional gigs. If someone was staring at my hands, I could just continue talking for, a couple of minutes because eventually they will look up and make eye contact because it's impolite not to. But yeah, it's a lot of confidence in close-up magic.
Yeah. And so, I mean, starting as a dancer and kind of building that up, obviously one of the reasons we're talking now is that you've got this theatre company and you're doing shows in London, taking it to Fringe and everything. I mean, how do you go from wanting to be a dancer to choreographing and all those kind of things?
Well, I think a lot of it is just self-permission. I know a lot of younger dancers that I'm teaching and training now want to transition into choreography for, self-expression. A lot of people don't feel like they've earned it yet. Depending on their age or how many credits they have or don't have. Like, I don't know what it's like. I mean, you're still a woman and you're still a performer. So we all have the demons that say we're not good enough. You can't do that yet. I think I definitely have those, but I think I am blessed with the ability to give myself permission to do things. That hasn't been one of the voices, luckily. And so I always wanted to learn how to act because dancing was very fulfilling, but there was always something missing. And I won't go on too much because I know that there will be other questions. But I took a year-long Meisner acting course, Sen from Meisner. And that's kind of what the birthplace was for this whole company is everything I learned from that training. I was like, this has to be able to be translated into dance, just the aliveness and impulsiveness, but we can get to that. But yeah.
I was going to say, yes, like I said, there is a fair bit of overlap. As a magician, not so much that all tricks are the same, but there are certain types of tricks and ways of doing it. And the thing that makes a good magician and a great magician is everything else around it. The story, the patter, and just, the misdirection, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, how much have you learned kind of over time in terms of developing that? So, you
Yeah.
start as a good technical magician, but then you become a performer.
Oh, that's good.
I think it's really interesting you talked about permission, because I think for the past 10 years, it has been a lot of growth of me giving myself permission to do what I really want to do. I think I thought because I was doing all the close-up, really corporate work, I had to have that kind of level of, cleanness and professionalism and all of the kind of like just very corporate sort of feel to my stage work as well. But actually, I've always wanted to be silly and mess around. I was always the class clown and sort of like messing around at work and stuff. So yeah, the more I give myself permission to do stuff, the better the actors got. And I think it has taken me 10 years to get to a point where I'm like, yes, this is what I want to do. I'm making a show now that I've wanted to write for the past 10 years. And yeah, just like the clown. And also I've had such imposter syndrome with the acting side of things, because I never went to drama school. I was too scared to do it at uni. I wanted to do English lit with acting, and I took out the acting part because I was too intimidated by people. So yeah, it's actually, I've started working with the director, and the first thing I said to him was, well, I can't act. And he went, well, have you just decided that? So it's kind of going, oh, actually, why have I decided that? And how can I actually start to lean into that more?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
Christie,
cool.
so the it's a dance show, but with I don't want to say with a difference. That sounds a bit, but there is a slightly different approach with it. Or are you happy to say it's with a difference?
Very much so. Very much so. Very happy to do that. So this is so fun. This is so cool. Because listening to you, I'm like, oh, so I love dance, like I've already said, and I will always dance. And like I already said, I always felt like something was missing. I actually grew up saying I wanted to be an actress until I was about 10 years old. And I told my dad very confidently, I said, I'm going to be an actress. And he said, oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
And I don't think I realized till I was in my mid-20s that I'd heard that's too hard, you can't do that, you should probably just keep dancing instead, because I'd always like entertain it and then run away and then entertain it and then run away. So this is so cool. But yeah, so it is very different in the sense that how can I make this not an hour-long answer, but because it's dance is beautiful because it is athleticism and artistry together. I feel like I don't like blaming things on social media or television or anything like that, but somehow we've arrived at a place where it's very externalized, very focused on aesthetics, being aesthetically pleasing, having perfect lines. I don't know. That's probably a whole podcast episode in itself, but I feel like anyone that dances, or I feel like people can resonate with that. And I started to feel like I didn't resonate or align or even understand my own craft anymore. And the more I studied the history of jazz, which is again another conversation, the more I was reminded of how much dance is based on it's celebratory, it's entertainment, it's community, it's a sense of freedom, it's getting in touch with your soul. Like it's all, and I just remember I'm like in class and I'm like, where is this?
Yeah.
Where is this? So with Meisner, to actually answer your question, his focus is on finding the impulse, human impulse, as opposed to like a pre-planned, you must cry on this line, et cetera, et cetera. And the state of aliveness is, in his words, that you discover as a human being when you're doing Meisner acting is so addicting. And I was like, this is what's missing. This is what's missing. So I for 3 years, I formulated a new method, which is a very overused word now, but it's a method, a technique, if you will, that I teach in a week to dancers where they can access this form of impulsiveness and getting out of their heads and into their bodies and moving in a way they've never moved before without so much physical awareness. I've never seen dance like this in my life. So yeah, it is very, very different.
Yeah. And I mean, without getting too reductive, would you kind of say it has parallels with improv in comedy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's the less he has so many amazing techniques that we've adapted for ourselves as dancers as well, because we don't have a scene partner as a human. So what we've done is we've created the scene partner, can be another person on stage, but very foundationally, our scene partner is the music and our text is the choreography. So we speak with the movement and we respond to the music. And it's just the less you're aware of what you're doing and the more you're connected to the other person, the freer you are. It's the most unbelievable experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And in terms of shows, so yes, obviously you're going to Edinburgh this year. Ava,
Yes.
you've performed a couple of times, couple of years now, I think.
6, yeah.
Six, crikey.
That felt like a
But-
brag, didn't it?
No, that's right. Because
You should.
I think you were saying you're talking about it being your debut next year, so that you've kind of performed,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you're doing a proper, because they talk a lot of the time. People talk about Coward's Hour, where they do 45 minutes where you can't be reviewed, and then you do a proper debut hour when this is my
Oh.
show, this is it. I've
I
now
missed out on
started.
that. I should have done that.
Dan, you know a lot.
So you can kind of go up, because yes, when you're learning,
Yeah,
you want to perform, you don't want to be torn to pieces,
of course.
all those kind of
Yeah.
worries. You want to kind of say, this is me, I'm ready now,
Mm.
that kind of stuff. But yes, you're saying 6 years. I mean, what kind of things have you learnt as you've gone along?
Yes, please
The-
teach me.
The main thing is just stagecraft, and then it was a way for me, because I always go with the PBH free Fringe, and it takes the pressure off and of the results when you're up there and the money that you get in and stuff like that. So it allowed me to test out the characters, Ava and Beaux, for the first time, which was in 2022. And then grow them. The last time I went, 2025, last year, the clown became really strong. So Ava is this talkative, she's becoming very formidable and intimidating, which is great and exciting. But she's like a talkative witch. And then you've got Beaux, who's the silent, joyous clown who causes chaos. But yeah, Beaux became very strong as a clown because I spent 3 weeks clown training just before I went, which meant that when I came back on as Ava and started talking again, people were like, oh God, get the clown back on. Where's the clown? We want her. So now we're working on developing Ava a lot. And also, Ava used to be very annoyed at Beau's actions. But obviously, when the audience love Beaux, they then dislike Ava for being the grumpy, like, school teacher. So we're now making them sort of more harmonious in their, like, relationship together. So that's the kind of, in the way it's a completely new show in terms of going back next year to Edinburgh and having the show that I've wanted to write for a while with these characters that have actually been developed and worked on. And yeah,
So you're not going this year?
I am, but I'm
You are.
doing a kind of best of. I never thought I'd be that
Nice.
person. And I feel really sort of like, pretentious for doing it. But I
Oh, it's
needed some
fantastic.
time because I was on a hamster wheel of creating a new show each year. And you can't create a good hour of magic every year because it's just the sleight of hand's not going to be there and it's not going to be worked in. So yeah, I'm doing a best of and then sort of watching as much as possible while I'm there this year.
And so that's free Fringe again.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
be back in the Voodoo Room Speakeasy,
Yeah.
which is a lovely venue.
So one thing we talk about quite a bit on the podcast where people do the free Fringe is the bucket speech.
Mm.
And I think some people, the concept of asking for money, even though it's a free show, and they at the end they feel really insecure or difficult about doing it and shy about doing it. But then other people have got it perfect, and almost it's almost part of the show. The bucket speech. I mean, how have you found it?
I am okay at it, to be honest. I'm quite good at it. I think I did a bit of street performing, which kind of trained me up into that. But I don't know, if you've done a really good show and you've worked your butt off for months before Edinburgh and you're giving it to people for free and asking, and if people genuinely can't afford it, then it's absolutely fine that they shouldn't need to pay anything. But the people that can, I don't feel guilty about asking for it, because when you've got a show of the sort of like amount of work that's gone into it and actually got to a quite high standard, I think it's okay to ask for £5-10 in your hat at the end. So yeah, I think honesty and a bit of vulnerability is the best method for that. You got to be honest, because they know if you're doing a hard sell. You've just got to say, this is how I make a living. I don't have another job and this is why I'm here. So if you'd like to support me, just be honest with the audience.
Have you ever done merch? Because I know, Christie, you've got some merch as part of your show.
Some merch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
T-shirts, totes.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Dan does
Sell
his
it,
research.
sell it to me afterwards. I'll be
Yeah.
snapping it all up.
But have you looked at anything like that, Ava? Kind of, whether it's badges, whatever.
I did some programs one year, like theatre programs. I was taking myself seriously. They were all right, but obviously, like, people aren't going to pay twice. So if you're asking them to pay for the show, which does deserve a little bit, but then you're selling the merch as well, you're kind of, they're going to buy one or the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something I'm thinking about. I'm kind of waiting till maybe I've grown a bit on social media. I know that's a bit of a, I don't know if that's necessary, but yeah, at some point I'll probably have merch, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Beaux needs to have some merch.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had an idea where she loves, we think that Beau's kryptonite is honey. She just loves honey. So we're thinking about, you could get local honey and sell it with her little labels on or something after the show.
So you're going to be on the train up to Edinburgh with a suitcase full of honey.
Yeah.
Yeah. With like one red dot on the lid.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, Christie, yes, I don't know if you wanted to briefly talk about the show and kind of, yes, you're slightly different. I was looking at the capacity. I don't know if this is right. It's 130.
Yes.
I mean, yes. So I always kind of scare guests sometimes where I kind of do the research. I kind of go, right, you've got, 25 nights at 50 seats. So you've got like 20 nights at 130. So that's like nearly 3,000 seats you've got to sell.
Don't tell me.
Yes, so where
I'm
are we
very
now?
ambitious.
We're about 3 months away from
Yeah.
starting. I mean, yes. Is that in your head? Oh God, I've got 3,000. Oh, no, that'll take care of itself. Build the show, and the rest will happen.
Well, I think it's starting to be on my mind because we did our preview run in April. We did 3 shows at the Cockpit, and it was Easter Monday and Easter Tuesday. So when they came back and said, oh, we have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday available in June, we were like, well, we'll take that, because how are we going to sell Easter Monday? And we actually did remarkably well. We had, I think, 110 people on the Monday. We only had about 50 for the Tuesday matinee, but we sold out our Tuesday night. Wow. So I was like, oh, thank goodness. So, and that was the show where I was like, the show needs to be good. So last year, again, without going on forever, but last year there was no stakes in a lot of ways because it was just an experiment. So I'd spent 3 years developing the method, and all the dancers that were coming to learn the process and learn from the workshops were like, this is life-changing. This is changing how I dance, how I teach, how I choreograph. I was like, okay, great. So this makes a difference. Will it make a difference to the audience? Will they experience dance different? Will they experience this same like elation that we do? Probably not quite, but we had to put it to the test. So we did that last April. And I think because I literally got to do whatever I wanted, I didn't have to think about what the audience would like. It was an absolute playground. I wish that experience for everyone. I don't wish the experience for this year on everyone, because then I had to take it and go, okay, that was literally a creative like vomit out of my body and brain and soul. Now I have to actually take my audience into consideration, and I have to create a product. And that was terrifying. But like back to the voices, I was like, what if it was just a fluke? What if it was, just magic and I can't do this again and I don't actually know what I was doing and it was just a beautiful accident and all that stuff. Thankfully, we did create a fantastic show in April. So, and our crowdfunder is finished, which was getting us, our deposits and all those things. And so, yeah, I think, I mean, it's been very Fringe focused, heavy. I have so much trust in myself that I will do everything in my power to sell those tickets. So even if we don't sell them, I know that I'm not going to be disappointed in myself. Like, it's not always the healthiest, like the self-abandon of like the lack of sleep and the incessant emails and the like thinking, what else? Who can I collaborate with? Who can I message? I have a lot of faith that I'll show up for myself. So that's what keeps me sleeping.
Yeah. I've always found it quite interesting kind of talking to people, this balance between, the usual kind of imposter syndrome and any kind of doubt and everything, but then having enough confidence to take a show. You've got that belief that, there's 4,000 shows there, but you think your show is the one that someone should come and see. Do those two things kind of fluctuate like on an hourly basis?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you go, because I just talk for so long. Yeah.
I was just going to say, but I feel like you have to be delusional. You have to know that there's no way that you're not going to be the world's biggest magic clown one day and that you're going to be doing these shows that are iconic. You have to believe that. But then you have all the doubt going on every day throughout every task. But it's the delusional thoughts that just keep you going through that and going, no, but what if, but what if, but what if? And I feel like that's what you've got to head towards. But...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, would you say how important is momentum in building it? Do you just kind of go in cold and, maybe day one there's 10 people and you can kind of try and build and you get a full house by the end? Or do you have to really try and get, going from day one?
I feel like I don't know, I'm going to jinx myself now, but every first Saturday I say I'm going to fly it. I never have time to because I'm running, trying to get everything ready. And I've always seemed to have a full house on that first weekend, but that is because it's a free show, I guess. But then, yeah, every day after that, I normally go out and fly for, this year I was doing 2.5 hours. And then I had a flyer for the last hour before the show. So it is a lot, but I was getting good numbers because I think Speakeasy is about 60 people. And I had kind of good full houses or sort of like 2/3 full most days. So yeah, it is kind of, I guess the momentum carries it a little bit. And you do find the last week it's suddenly busier with people that haven't seen it yet, but it is just putting the work in each day. Yeah.
Yeah. And Christie, obviously there's 9 dancers in the show, a couple of musicians, and then yourself. So you've almost got a decent street team, I guess. Is that the plan, to just kind of divide and conquer?
Yes, we're going to have a flyering schedule. And I've already told the girls, if you want to swap, you can, but don't tell me. You just figure it out on your own. So yeah, we're gonna divide and conquer, make sure that they have time to see shows as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And my husband is actually going to come as well with our dog. And I'm hoping that our border collie husky cross can flirt with enough ladies to...
100%.
Thank you.
You will get...
That's what I thought.
That is the most genius flying method I've ever heard. My friend used to have a method where if it was raining, this is from Abel from Cain and Abel, and he'd hop up, he'd find sort of like some women in the street and sort of like hop up with his umbrella and put it over the top, or like hop under their umbrella and be like, oh, could I stand under your umbrella? Or if they didn't have one, he'd get his own one out and pop that over the top. Be like, oh, it's raining. Come to our show.
Brilliant.
And it worked. It really worked.
Yeah. Yeah. Adorable.
Yeah. And in terms of finding an audience, are you trying to kind of convert people, get curious, or just find the right people to start with?
I guess a little bit of both. I mean, we're lucky that the 90s are back. And so there's a lot of people that didn't necessarily, including some of my cast members, that didn't necessarily live through the 90s or were, born at the end of the 90s, that are coming around and like, we love the 90s, but then also, me and my husband are like, this is so nostalgic. So, yeah, I think we've surprised a few groups of people, because I think our target audience is roughly, 20 to 25 to 35, and mostly female, because it's a very female, like the entire cast other than the two musicians are female. So it's very female empowered. So that is kind of our target audience. But I think we've surprised, some older demographic and even, the men that are coming. I mean, it's 9 hot girls. What's not to like,
Yeah. So choosing a venue, choosing the time, choosing the price point, how much control did you have on that? Or was it fairly restrictive?
We were very lucky because one of our cast members was actually at Edinburgh Fringe last year and worked with the space. Not in the same venue, but they have many great spaces, and she just said they had a fantastic experience working with them. And so I don't even know if it was, I think we waited until like 2 days after Fringe last year. And I was like, hi, Charles. My friend was just out here. And so we got in there right away. We got a great time slot. We're at 7 o'clock every night at the Space Triplex. And yeah, we did go back and forth with like the amount of seats. as well. But we also needed a substantial like space for 9 dancers and a drum kit, you know, and a guitarist. So a lot of people have told me not to bring my musicians because of the setup and takedown time. But I'm
You're doing it.
I'm doing it. I'm gonna figure it out.
So is it them with a backing track, or is it just them?
Yes. Yeah, no, there is a backing track because I mean the show starts with Green Day, Basket Case, but just having them play on top and then them kind of riffing a little bit in between the shows as well, just it creates so much more presence, like and aliveness and like now and the impulsiveness, and because every show is also slightly different, which we can talk about it too. But yeah.
Yes, you say, you know, kind of like improv, that there's a framework, but
Yes.
there's a freedom as well.
There's quite a bit of freedom. So they have their text, which is their choreography, which with Meisner, the rule is the only thing that trumps the text is the truth, which is true impulse. So we've worked very hard on really, I'm sure there's a better way to say this, but curbing the ego and not making it about them, because there's a big difference between ideas and impulses. And this is one thing that I found a lot in dance class. You know, you see people pre-choosing like how they're going to do the combo different so they get noticed, but it doesn't land because it's planned.
Yeah.
Like it's contrived. It doesn't work. So yeah, my cast is extremely malleable, but they have a different given circumstance every show that they find out in the show. So you find out how it works is there's a sign for each cast member. So it'll say this is Abby after tonight, and then there'll be a new sign and it'll say she's ending her relationship, or she's finding out she's pregnant, or she's quitting school. But the cast, they don't know what they're going to get. So they find out in the moment on stage, and you get to watch that reaction, and then they go through the rest of the party with that given circumstance, which is really cool. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I was looking at a review you had, Ava. Someone said about Ava and Beaux, said it almost feels a shame that they can't appear on stage at the same time. But obviously online they do. And so you're talking about social media promotion. You do an awful lot now of kind of pretty edit heavy videos of you as the two characters on the screen, you know, as far as the view is concerned at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a lot of work?
So what I thought was 5 months ago, I thought I'm going to really put an effort in with social media. I didn't realize how long it would take to actually grow. And I feel like I'm starting to get some traction now. But my thought was, if I put Ava and Beaux on the internet, it's a bit like Jellycat. So you know that people love buying Jellycats because they've got the reels with the bear and everything, and people go, I want him. So I thought that maybe if people saw Ava and Beaux online, that they would come to the show. So I was planning way ahead for kind of next year. However, it's a bit chicken and egg, I've realised, because they don't care about the characters because they don't know them yet, which means they won't give you more than 3 seconds of their time and they'll scroll on to the next one. So, but yeah, I did enjoy making those, and that you kind of have I'm using masks to make the two of them at the same time appear. It's both me. But it is really fun watching them back because I kind of think they are really fun and you get to know the characters better. And I think my mum was the person who said, God, Beaux looks fun, doesn't she? I'd love to hang around. I was like, yes, she is. I'd love to hang around with Beaux in real life. Now I've moved on to sketch comedy, which is kind of magic themed. So the first idea I had was Magician's Rabbit walks out mid-show. I thought I've got this concept, it's going to be great. And it was, and it got I think it's on like 106,000 views, which is bigger than anything I've ever had. But then that gave me a full sense of hope. So now I'm sort of like, I've got like obsessive followers who love this content. They're like, please keep making the sketches. And I think I'm going down that vein now. But yeah, I've realized that people don't want polished on social media. They want silly stuff. And they want the things that were doing really well were things like Magician realizes mid-show she's forgotten half her props. They want to see the flop. They want to see the clown. So that's what I'm leaning into more and more. But the main thing now is they're not taking as long to make, but the vulnerability hangover I get from posting them, like posting me being stupid. Like I got a pie in the face on line the other day in this reel. This clown is like throwing There's a clown seeing a
Yeah.
recruitment advisor, and she's showing what she can do. And she's like, I'm really good at throwing these. And we got my partner to throw it across the table. And bless him, he got it in one take. And I was like, thank you. I thought it was going to take 10 times. I was so worried about it.
Yeah.
But then I thought, am I really going to post that on the internet forever? But other people just say, oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Well, it's just a little bit, isn't it? And to me, it feels like a huge bit.
Yeah.
But for them, it's just like, oh yeah, that was funny. And it's not a big deal.
But
yeah.
do you feel like you're constantly then, chasing that 100,000 again? You say,
I am, totally. Like, I got that 3 weeks ago and I'm like, it's been 3 weeks. When is the next one coming? But I do just need to be I'm very impatient with stuff like that. And actually, I think I've realised it's more of a gradual process. Like, I've realised people keep going back. When they find my account, they now go and watch all the other ones. So it's almost creating that portfolio and building it up over time. But yeah, they are fun to make. So yeah, just got to obsess over the metrics less. And I think that will happen in time as well.
yeah. And I mean, are you then everywhere with it? TikTok, Reels, Facebook even go, does it go everywhere, or do you just try and stick to one or two channels?
I do put it everywhere, like YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I need to start posting on LinkedIn. Apparently that's like something people sleep on.
I was going to say to you, actually, yes, who's connected.
Yeah, because you connected with me. I was like, he's going to be bitterly disappointed on this.
But no, I mean,
Yeah, me
stuff like that.
too.
I mean, Stuart Goldsmith, who I had was on first guest, he does a lot of climate comedy. And then he does an awful lot of that, talk about resilience and climate-based comedy. So he's got like a whole kind of world now of corporate stuff and environmental stuff, about talking about those kind of things. And I think a fair amount of that is through LinkedIn. And so yes, maybe not as much the clown stuff, but
Yeah.
magic and what magic can teach you in business, however you spin that.
Yeah.
There's probably a way you can do that. I think there's definitely room for it there.
I was going to advertise the gigs that I'd done on LinkedIn and be like, look how corporate this is. But talking about it now, I'm thinking, if you've got all the normal LinkedIn posts and suddenly you see someone dressed up as a magician's rabbit walking out mid-shirt, potentially that could do really well. So that maybe that'll stop. Maybe LinkedIn is the bit that the clown will work on.
Yeah, because obviously it's business focused, but those business people like rabbits too. There's
they like rabbits too.
you can always find something. So obviously social media, Chris, you've got all this to come over the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Is there anything planned? I know we spoke earlier about kind of whether you set up a specific account for the show.
Yeah.
And have all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we have 2 trailers coming out, one for our June run, and then one for Edinburgh Fringe. I mean, we'll probably have a few. Our videographer was amazing. He videotaped some interviews and some post-show reactions from our April show, which is amazing. We have our resident photographer we call Mama Sue. She's no one's mom, but she's our mom, and she just loves to take our picture. She's amazing. So we have a lot of photography. Not that is really engaging per se, but I think people like to see the rehearsal process. And yeah, we've done a lot of behind the scenes stuff because we just get very, very silly. And yeah, we're performing at the Fringe Awards as well on the 17th of May at the Clapham Grand, which will be fun. And we're going to do an Instagram takeover for the cockpit that day as well, so we can capture that. And we did open a TikTok account, which I did not have. Because I have more than one business too, so I think I have like 4 or 5 Instagram accounts. Yeah. And so my producer was like, I think it'd be really helpful if we got a TikTok account. And I was like, listen, if you want to take care of it, go for it, but I can't download another app. But she's right, and it's been very helpful. So luckily this is a team, and I don't have to do everything by myself because it's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's
without
a lot.
to give you more work, Ava. I mean, have you thought about Beaux having her own account and being a separate person?
No.
Damn.
God, yes.
But whether that could work.
That could work. Because Beau's ridiculous. I love Beaux. Yeah. Beau's my kind of like, when I'm Beaux, because I've started actually being able to, I think I've started to be able to act a little bit. I've been so focused on what the feeling of acting would be like. And I did a show in Nottingham, and I remember I just went full on in character for the first time, and the laughs were so much bigger because they weren't looking at me and going, who's this slightly odd woman? They could see I was a character because I was saying I was 350 years old because I was a witch.
Yeah.
And that I'd sliced open a rabbit at a kid's birthday party. They know I haven't done that, or they hope I haven't.
Yeah.
So they can see it's in character, and suddenly they're more comfortable because they understand you and they can just immediately get on board. So yeah, the laughs were so much bigger. But I feel like Ava's been fun to play because she's so intimidating, but Beaux has been fun to play because she's so mischievous. And that's just really nice to play around with. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe she...
And how have you found the difference between kind of close-up magic and then magic for a camera?
So do you mean in terms of gigs or
In terms of kind of if you're doing magic online, it's a kind of different way of presenting things.
It's actually way worse. Magic online is never... I know people think you use camera trickery and all of that stuff, but you don't. And misdirection is such an important part of a gig. And also, my main sort of skill in close-up magic is the charm, and it's like interacting a group of people and getting them on board very quickly, and then charming them enough that they're not really even looking at my sleight of hand. If they do look at it, obviously I've been doing it for 10 years, they could burn my hands and it'd be fine. But yeah, it's a whole different story. So online, you're kind of trying to hide stuff that normally you would just hide through misdirection, but you're trying to hide it from a camera, which isn't as good. And you have to be so quick as well. I have to talk so fast and get magic tricks done in sort of 30 to 60 seconds, where normally I'd have a little story among it and I'd be having jokes and interaction with the audience. So it's not the best place, I don't think, for magic. I know some people have been really successful on social media with it, but it's not the best showcase of my skills, I don't think. Yeah.
And you're talking about I mean, you spent all this time doing it. I'm not saying you want to get rid of it, but do you almost see something just completely non-magical at all?
Yeah, I think I've got a work in progress coming up on the 27th June. And I would like to get a couple of bits in it where I'm just doing clown, because I want to test it out. Because magic is such a safety net. It's like having stabilizers on stage. Because whatever happens, you're leading to this reveal, and the audience will go, "Oh, that was great. How did she do that?" Whereas if you're a stand-up comic and you're just talking to a mic and people don't like you, that's that. Or if people aren't invested in the play, that's all they've got. And the same with sort of clown as well. If people don't like you doing clown, it's awkward because you're not only trying to make them laugh, but you're also being very weird. So yeah, but I'd like to start doing a bit more just clown. And yeah, the new show we're writing is quite clown heavy, but also very much a piece of theatre with characters. And yeah.
And do you see next year it being in a paid venue and kind of up in the ante, as it were?
That's what I'd like to do. I'm kind of caveating. The goal since coming back from last Fringe is to do a paid venue in 2027, and have this. We're writing the dream show that I'll then make smaller and compromise for the venue, because I've always written a show for a venue and it's kept me quite limited and quite small and hasn't allowed me to realise my own potential a bit. So that's what we're writing. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to fund it. So it's kind of like, it could be 2028, but we'll see. I'm hanging on to 2027 at the moment.
Yeah. And obviously both of you, Fringe is for some people the pinnacle, but obviously there's a life beyond it. I mean, for both of you, where do you see the show happening, or beyond that Edinburgh Fringe?
I mean, I would love to have a venue in London. I'm currently coming for Bunga 90. They don't know it. Well, they haven't replied to my emails yet, but they will. They will. It's have you heard of it? It's a 90s bar club in Covent Garden. So I mean, it doesn't have to be there. Obviously, it's just a built-in theme. But no, I would love to have a space to have the show run weekly, even if it was 2 or 3 times a week. I think it would just be such a crowd pleasing, like 50 to 60 minutes. You know, you leave just so elated. I don't know. I really think that it would be something that could serve London for like a seasonal amount of time. I did do, when I first moved here, I did a murder mystery called How to Solve a Problem Like Murder. It was at Paradise by way of Kensal Green, because it is literally Cluedo in a building. Like it has
so cool.
the conservatory, it has a library. I remember walking in, Dan, this is how ambitious I am. I walked in and was like, I want to create and put a show in your venue, but I need the whole building. And they were like, you can have the second floor. And I was like, I will take it. And we ran there for 3 years on and off, but people still mess it. Like everyone loves a murder mystery, you know? And I think, you know, a 90s rock pop dance show is also very popular, I guess, in a lot of ways. So yeah, I would love to have a residency summer, even just for a period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it almost feels as if, you know, getting ahead of yourself, you know, you've still got Fringe to get through. But,
I know.
I guess these things you have to, you know, so I mean.
But I dream. Yeah.
You've got a dream.
You do have to dream. And I mean, definitely one thing at a time. But I think the passion so easily comes from when you discover something that just feels so aligned with like your self-expression, like you keep talking about your dream show. It's very addicting, and it's very hard not to dream, and it's hard to think about anything else.
Yeah.
You know, I keep reminding my cast, like we got invited to the Highlight Festival in July just for one performance, and we got invited to the Fringe Awards after our April run, and I just have to keep reminding myself that they have other jobs, they have auditions, they have boyfriends or girlfriends, and this is not their life, even though it's mine.
It's yours, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have plans for after?
To be honest, I'm just the industry's been weirdly quiet in terms of corporate work this year.
Okay.
So at the moment, I'm focused on making sure I just really sort of up the gigs to try and ensure I can fund it, because it's been quieter than I expected. The quietest I felt it since COVID, if I'm honest, which is odd. But agents have assured me it's not me, because they're like, no, I just have no events on. And other magicians, I think, have felt the same thing that I've spoken to. So my aim is, first of all, get to this year's Fringe, try and do a good show, a good best of show, and then try and up the corporate gigs for the autumn and winter time so that I can fund that show. And then it's literally like, the thing that gets me up in the morning is that show that I'm super obsessed with.
Yeah.
And then, I guess hopefully if I can put it on in Edinburgh next year, we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, how important have you found reviews in terms of, you know, we talked about building momentum earlier and those kind of things. I mean, does a 4-star in a particular paper or whatever, does that make a marked difference?
I had one review from World Magic in 2022, and she described it as a perfect, stunning magic show with 5 stars. Wow. And after that, she's a great reviewer, and she comes back every year, and I've had a couple of other 5-star reviews from her. But I'm like, I don't need them, because I've got this. I can't replace that quote. I think that really has worked to my posters. I also got a nice one from Broadway Baby, which said, in time, get tickets for her now. In time, there'll be like gold dust and someone growing into magical stardom or something. Wow. And that was the nicest quote. So if you can get those nuggets, I think they do sell a show. So yeah, they are helpful, but not necessary either.
Yeah. So, Christie, do you have any plans for that? You know, because yours is at the larger size of venue, so you'll get more of the mainstream reviewers hopefully coming in.
Yes.
But are you knocking on their door already to say?
Yes. Yeah. We have a few reviews that have come in from April, which was terrifying because, again, it was like the new baby. And we have actually quite a decent list for June. The Sunday, the last show, purely because that's the only night my original stage manager can be there, is our press night as well. So we have a decent turnout for press for June, which will hopefully serve us well in Edinburgh, of course. Have we even started messaging people in Edinburgh? No, thank you, Dan. I'm going to add that to my to-do list. Yeah.
Because I think, you know, a lot of people have said, you know, 4 stars in the Scotsman or whatever, it just really, really helps.
It does.
But you don't want that on like the 25th of August. Well, it's better than nothing, but
Of course.
it doesn't sell seats.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it will be important. We are going up there. Are you there the whole time? We're there the whole
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Okay, great. That's fantastic. We'll know somebody else. Yeah, we definitely need to get some people in at the beginning to hopefully build the momentum for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to Christie and thanks to Ava for coming on to the podcast. You can find out more details in the show notes about where to find them both online and at the Fringe. If you enjoyed this, check out our other episodes of a variety of comedians, musicians, authors and others in creative industries talking about trying to make creativity pay. Thanks for listening.